Now I move that House Bill 978 be voted to pass. Any discussion? Any discussion? This is,
I believe Representative Fitzwater can take care of that. Okay.
yeah, this is it. Okay. Yeah. Any discussion? This is a bill about the inmate Jeff Mizanskey. Obviously, this is the bill that we heard last week, and I know there's been some concern about this. We've talked about it. I'm sure there's in the select committee there's going to be some amendments offered on this, and Representative Duggan was supposed to be here this morning answering questions. Any discussion? He was. Did he? Is there anyone on the committee has any discussion about this bill? Anyone? Yes, Representative Corsi.
I just want to say thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just want to say in reference to this bill that this is an issue that we do need to resolve, and I'm very much so in support of this piece of legislation.
Okay, thank you. Representative Corsi.
My only comment is I think the governor should have on this. That's it.
Well, the governor's had
I
opportunities.
think he should have been the one, but not doing it.
Yeah, go proceed.
I just want to make
Good
a
discussion.
comment in reference to what he just stated. Partially agree, but we wouldn't be able to do it here because the governor would have had to approve clemency for this inmate, and he didn't. And since it's being brought to our committee, I think to ensure the fact that this does not occur anymore, that we need to go ahead on and do what we need to do to get this man released, as well as stopping the process of this happening again for such an offense.
Okay, any other discussion in the committee on House Bill 978?
We do have an amendment here, but we now have proof.
I'm going to offer. Any other discussion? Okay, I have an amendment. It's been distributed, and I move for its adoption. And Representative Dogan is here. If you want to tell us a little bit about your amendment, proceed, my friend.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This one work? No? All right.
The mics aren't working for some reason.
Crank day or something. So yeah, this amendment does two things. It changes it eliminates the date of August 28, 2015, so that it becomes an open-ended class. It would include anybody who gets sentenced after that date, if that were to ever happen. And then it also just inserts an emergency clause.
Emergency clause. Any questions? Yes, proceed, Representative.
To acquire the representative.
Please proceed.
So if this amendment is taken up and somebody is convicted after the fact and the judge hands down a life sentence, is it immediately by statutory law overturned and the guy walks out the door?
That's a good question.
Representative, proceed. I need your expertise advice.
We changed the statute with life without the possibility of parole for prior persistent drug offenders, so no one will be sentenced to the walkable offense, which is without the possibility of parole. We already changed that statute.
That
So
goes
this-
into effect at 17.
Yeah, so I don't think people are even sentenced to that.
Well, I
It's
don't
prior
think so
persistent-
either.
Prior persistent drug offender, life without the possibility of parole sentences, because they know the statute changed, so.
And the main reason that was inserted was because I heard a couple concerns from attorneys that if you didn't eliminate that language, if it was cut off at that date, then there might be some constitutional questions. So this is just to eliminate that concern.
President Hubbard, go ahead, please.
Just want to consult with Attorney Gardner. Wasn't that change in the interim with the criminal code? Okay.
The bill go into effect the 17th, that's what I was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
President Hill, proceed.
So my one concern would be then if it does happen, it's mud in the face of us if it does happen. If a judge would take advantage of the situation to send a statement out, do this just by making a statement, not the fact that, he hands down a sentence that way, and we have a statutory law that frees him. Because there will be a gap between effectively this law and 2017. So maybe there could be language inserted that would address the gap.
Any other discussion? Proceed.
I understand people's concerns, but I don't see what's the gap because one, I can't speak to every judge, but the trend has been that people are not being sentenced for life without the possibility of parole, prior persistent cases anymore because the time has changed. They're getting away from that. That's why we have drug courts and post-plea drug courts in a lot of jurisdictions because the judges feel like the sentence does not match the charge, so they're not sentencing them. I'm not saying every judge has not. Can't speak to every judge, but I know that's the trend. So I understand some of the concerns, but since we've already changed the law, the criminal code, I know it doesn't take effect until 2017. But I think that the trend has been that these cases are basically people are not being sentenced for this particular crime anymore because, like I said, life is kind of strengthened for the marijuana charge. So I understand what concerns you guys have, but.
Representative Hill, thank you.
I agree with you. Times are changing, and I'm glad.
Yeah.
However, I don't want Mr. Mizanskey's case being held up on a small issue like this on the floor, should this go to the floor. And if it's something that we can address in just a language change in this amendment, then I think we should and give it due diligence. Otherwise, his status is at risk, and it'll keep from us having mud in our face whenever a judge decides, the state made a law that says that this can't happen, so just for giggles, I'm gonna sentence this guy to life, and watch the media surround us and say, look, the state legislature, at least this guy just got a life sentence, didn't serve a day in jail. I don't want to give a judge that opportunity. So let's just fix the language and hear next week.
Representative Human.
My question was, this is the only case in the world that's gotten this at any time, is that right? I haven't heard of another one.
Yeah,
Here in
I've
the
never
state.
I've never seen, this is the first time I've ever heard, I know you could sentence somebody to life without the possibility of parole or a prior persistent drug offender. I personally have never seen it happen in the jurisdiction I was in, so other jurisdictions, I can't speak to that.
I haven't heard of it.
Well, if this amendment passes, what it says here is, and I can read it to you, release for any offender who is incarcerated and serving a sentence. So basically, we're not talking about, if this amendment passes, we're not talking about any new person being sentenced. The amendment states specifically here that it's someone who is already incarcerated. So I think it takes care of the clarification Representative Hill that you're talking about here. Is some judge out there trying to be, so I'm going to take advantages to see what they're going to do. But this amendment specifically says that it's someone who's already locked up, who's already incarcerated. So
It doesn't say already.
No, it just says incarcerated individuals.
No,
I think it's in the bill.
Passing tense.
it's in the bill, I'm sorry, yes.
Yes.
But in the bill, it doesn't say already. It says is.
Is incarcerated.
It is incarcerated.
If somebody is incarcerated,
And we have one in the state, let's not forget that.
Hello. Hello. Any other discussion? Representative Hubbard, please
Two
proceed.
questions, Mr. Chairman. Two things that we could probably possibly do. If we would add an emergency clause for an immediate release, we could do that, or either we could reference to this case number in this amendment to have the emergency clause for this individual only, which would bring about an immediate release.
I would be very hesitant to, you can't identify this individual's number, but the other part of it, the emergency clause is what this does. So this amendment is an emergency clause
Well,
also.
according to the statute, and that's the issue here in this particular case, you wouldn't be actually identifying the person's name, but as it relates to the situation.
Oh, I thought
this
you
issue-
said his ID.
Oh, no. In this case, I very much so make a difference with you regarding that, because this is an individual, even if we as a committee, straighten this situation out and put it to law to be in compliance with the criminal code, we still have a situation here of an individual that has served 21 years being incarcerated for this type of event. There's some kind of way we need to fix this.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Just to make sure, this is what it would say. Notwithstanding the provisions of this section to the contrary, the board shall order the release and parole of any offender who is incarcerated and is serving a sentence of life. That would only apply to someone who is incarcerated and is serving. And so with the emergency clause, and then it goes into effect, the judges, I mean, I know they're not all, where we'd like for them to be, but they do read the laws that we change, and I couldn't see a judge sentencing someone to life without parole. They would get more media attention for idiocracy than we would for passing this bill.
Well, I don't think that's the issue, and actually, just like when a person comes to the Department of Correction, the judge has pretty much already made his decision, and he does
That's what
have
I'm
the
saying.
he does have the discretion, according to the statute, to do what he wants to do. And by the time it gets to the state has to comply
Right.
and be in compliance to what the judge says. So I think that's what the issue is here.
Yeah, I would,
So wasn't that law in 1995 changed in prior persistence that it took out life without parole out of the statute?
We changed it.
That's, yeah, we changed.
Okay, so we're arguing over a sentence that's not even eligible.
Well, it doesn't go into effect till
Yeah,
2017.
From 1995 or
No,
96?
no, we
The law
just
that was
did
passed.
this. Criminal code. New criminal code goes into effect.
Yeah, proceed. This is a good discussion. Just discuss. Could we add the line for an individual that already has served over 20 years? Would that take out this problem?
don't we have to see what class felon it was and what the parameters are for that felony classification?
Yeah.
Representative?
What we could do is, I don't know if the representative Dolan would be willing to have maybe somebody from the Missouri bar just look at the language of the bill, the language of the amendment, kind of give all the questions that people are having, kind of see if they can speak to that and say that is no issue, so they can talk about the effects of the criminal code if you want to, willing to have somebody give a fast response. I don't know if we can get that, but maybe, I don't know, if we'd like to get that.
Well, I've already been discussing this bill with the select committee and Representative Kevin Austin. We're actually doing some investigating, doing some research,
And, some people feel that the legislature doesn't have the right to come in and do what we're doing here. And I'm sure that this bill is going to be amended at the next level to make some changes to it. And again, are we overstepping our authority here? I'm not sure. But we are doing some research. I can tell you that that's already in the process. And this bill has a ways to go. But again, what you're asking here has already been done. It is. Any other discussion on Amendment 1? Any other discussion? Okay, so those in favor of adopting House Committee Amendment 1 signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Seeing none, you've adopted Amendment 1. I now move that House Bill 978, as amended, be voted do pass. Madam Secretary, call the roll.
Representative Fitzwater.
Aye.
Representative Bratton.
Aye.
Representative Andrews.
Aye.
Representative Black. Aye. Representative Chipman.
Aye.
Representative Gardner. Aye. Representative Hill.
Aye.
Representative Hubbard.
Aye.
Representative Benz. Representative Rybel.
Aye.
Representative Roden.
No.
Representative Schumate.
Aye.
Okay, by your vote of 11 ayes and 1 no, you have voted House Bill number 978 as amended as do pass. Okay.